Good evening to everybody. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Shri Milind Katti, Shri Ashok Dalwai, Shri Gopal Hasur, Shri Captain Gopinath, Shri Maltesh Jivanavar, Shri Shiva Prasad Kenned, and Colonel BGV Kumar of Para Holding Unit. 1974, you just flagged a message saying that if I was in 1974 para, then you were probably in the para holding unit. Sir, if you are there, my respects to you. Yes, 1974 September is when I reported to the para holding unit. And if you are there, then you are kicking us into the three-towners early morning to send us off to the para-training school, Agra, and for throwing us out of the aircraft 5 times, giving us the para wing. So, Colonel Kumar, my deep respects to you. I'm actually deeply honored. I'm deeply honored to receive the invitation, and I was thrilled to listen to each one of the speakers. I was really thrilled to see the website being presented. Now, as all of you know that I am in the state of Odisha for the last 6 years. This is the state where I was born, and I have been working with the government here in the area of skill development, which is mostly for the good of school dropouts and kids who make it to the ITIs and polytechnics. My wife, Susmita Bagchi, is also part of the government here, and she heads a program called Mo School. Mo in Odia means mine. And the charter of Mo School Abhiyan is to connect alumni to their schools, because the Honorable Chief Minister felt that the 50,000 plus government schools are actually receding backwards, and the best way to revive them would be to get the alumni to be a part of the process. And the program encourages alumni to come spend time, give time, to become role models, to come and teach, be involved in the school running. Also, very incidentally, the government said that if they want to contribute in terms of money, then the government will match that contribution 2x. They can decide where the money will go, and they will have oversight on how the money will be used. So somebody says that I want to set up a lab, and here is my money. Somebody says I want to have a common room. Somebody says I want to build a smart classroom, so here's my money. And the government will immediately match it 2 times. You'll be amazed that in the last few years, 120 crores came in. 120 crores came in from the contributions by alumni, and the government then matched it with 2x, which is 240 crores. So imagine 360 crores have now gone in for the transformation of government schools. So that is the power of alumni. And as I was listening to Shri Dalwai, whatever points that he made about how the alumni can engage to make a significant contribution, not just to their own institution, but create a role model in that institution, so that many other Sainik schools then will follow. So I'm sure this website that you have launched, if one Bijapur has 5,000 cadets who have gone out, then I'm trying to think how many would be in positions of glory and greatness and great impact-making possibility when you pull in all the Sainik schools. So suddenly you have a community of communities. So that we do not always realize the power of the collective. And I'm going to talk to you briefly about the idea of the collective. So on that note, I also like to tell you that after the astounding success of the Mo School Abhiyan, the government then has extended that to Mo College, and getting the alumni of government colleges to come back and contribute. So offline, we can discuss about that. And Shri Dalwai, whenever you have the time, you're coming our way to Bhubaneswar, would like to connect you to both these institutions. So coming to the conversation with you, I don't like to think that I'm making a speech to you. I don't want to think that I'm making a grand address. I'd like to really chat with you. I've been very inspired by people like Shri Ashok Dalwai, people like Shri Gopal Husur and Captain Gopinath, and now, of course, Shri Milind Katti. Shri Milind Katti himself is a techno entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. Of some consequence, I got to learn about him pretty late, but I'm really full of admiration for what he has achieved and his humility and his sense of purpose. If we look at somebody like Shri Ashok Dalwai, like Karnataka claims me. Karnataka is my second motherland, or Odisha is my first motherland. And Odisha got me back after a long time. So the same way that Shri Dalwai has two motherlands, and people here have great respect and affection and regard. So when he was, in Karnataka on deputation, we used to take tremendous pride that he's an ODIA officer who's on deputation to Karnataka, making ripples as BMC commissioner, and in several other positions that he had enjoyed and made great impact on. Of course, Shri Gopal Hosur is a legend in his lifetime. We in the private sector were always in awe. We in the IT sector were always in awe of his greatness. A lot of people talk about leadership, but to get a few bullets in your body is a very different ballgame altogether. But what was amazing is how accessible his personality was, how he was like water. He would mix with everybody. He would make smallest of the problems you could take to him, and he would listen to you. And it's amazing how he made a transition from being a very respected, very adored police officer to making an impact in corporate social responsibility. And now, of course, he's leading a philanthropic hospital, making a lot of difference. Captain Gopinath and I go back as long as I go back with Shri Hosur. I feel that Gopi is like a brother, soldier, activist, entrepreneur, outlier, politician. I don't know if Gopi is on this conversation, on this call or not. But what is very interesting is if we look at all these four people, and I presume that the same gene pool to which they belong, which is the gene pool of ordinariness. And I think one of the speakers alluded to that, ordinariness. I think it was Ashok who talked about ordinariness, coming from ordinary backgrounds, and then gone on to build very extraordinary things. So this is what appeals to me, and this is what enamors me as far as the Abhits are concerned. But what is very significant is your value system of integrity, of respect, accountability, self-service, selfless service, collectivism that you talked about, and empowerment. Values are everything. So what I'm going to do is, in the next few minutes, talk about the idea of achievement that people like Shri Katti, Shri Dalwai, Shri Hosur, and Shri, Captain Gopinath, and all of you here represent. These are high achievers. These are people who have done something of consequence with their lives. So I am going to talk to you a little bit about an idea of achievement through a presentation that I'm going to show you a few slides so that you don't fall off to sleep. So let me actually share my screen, if that is okay, Shri Katti.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
You have to show it from there. Can you see my screen?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah? No?
Not yet.
Negative? Not. Okay. So let me go here, share screen. Okay, so I'm not
Feeling
able
sir
to...
is not a co-panelist. So I think you will have to
Santosh, can you do that? Yeah, Santosh, can you do that quickly? Yeah. Now we can see, sir. Yeah. Bagchi, sir, we can see your screen.
You're seeing my screen? Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you see this?
Yes, sir. Skilled in Odisha, yes.
Very nice. Good. So in my conversation with you over the next few minutes, I want to talk to you about achievement, the idea of achievement, and then we will try to look at the idea of, inspired achievement. So if you friends look at your own life, okay, you'll find that our life has broadly two narratives. One is what I call platform, and the other is what I call purpose. So you see this as a XY, diagram, and on the left side you see platform, and on the right side you see purpose. What is platform? If you analyze your own life, you will find that each one of you on this call are basically a product of six things. First and foremost, you're a product of education. That is why all of you are here. You say, I'm from Sainik School, Bijapur. And many of you, some of you are in your 60s and 70s, you have left that school behind so long back. But even today, you say, I studied in Sainik School, Bijapur. So Bijapur is where your story begins. And the 5,000 people who will soon get connected, you look continuously at education and say, I went to Bijapur, I went to NDA, I went to IMA, all of you are talking about roll number. What is a number? What's a roll number? But it is so important to you. It is like your double helix almost. So your education determines who you are. The second thing is your experience. I was in Sikhalai, or I was in 9 Jat, or I was a fighter controller, or I was a Navy diver off Visakhapatnam for 10 years. So what is in fact, Sri Katti talked about one of the Ajits who flew the Rafale. Okay, so for the rest of his life, he's going to say, I was one of the people who brought the first Rafale. So it's your experience. Similarly, Gopi will talk about his 1971 war experience, which actually changed his whole worldview. So we are made up of our education, we are made up of our experience. That makes us who we are. Then it is our network, which is what you are just doing. You're bringing the power of your network. You are saying, I have a neurosurgeon in Auckland who is a Jeep. If I just connect through the website, then I can immediately find out who are the 10 people who are on the West Coast, California. So that's the network. Your education and experience take you only so far in life. After that, it is the amplifying factor. If you look at the leverage, okay, it basically comes from your network. So if Sri Dalwai wants to get something moving, all he has to do is to call his batchmate in Odisha, and that guy will move heaven and hell. So your network is very important. Who did you actually share the dorm in Bijapur? Who did you share the dorm in Indian Military Academy? So that's the power of your network. Beyond that, it is your net worth. Okay. So how much money do I have in the bank? Net worth is important because it sometimes is able to give us the self-confidence to take risks in life. If Sri Katti has a certain amount of money in the bank, then he can say, okay, so now I don't have to worry about my family and my future. I can take big stake with my next serial enterprise. So your net worth also determines who you are. Then your family determines who you are. Okay. And in your case, of course, your parents have had very great influence on you, your sisters and brothers, but it's also your wife, your wife, your children, they have great influence on you. They modify your thinking, they modify your whole worldview. And last but not the least, as you know, it's your body. I want to be an Air Force pilot. I went through my, I got selected. I did my, PABT, my service selection board, all good, good, good. I was flying, and while I was flying, my medical category went down. It completely changes my track. Okay, and all my life I remember that my medical category got down. Okay, so unless your body is cooperating with you, you will not be able to do what you want to do. So these 6 things taken together become collectively our platform. Some people say, so what happens to values? My answer to that is your values are actually a collection of these 6 things. They determine your values. If you change your network, your values will change. If you're born into a different family, your value will change. You may come from a family with a wrong set of values, but you go to Bijapur and you spend time with a few of your fellow students, and you will actually deviate from that family's values into a different set of values altogether. So values are a function of your education, experience, network, net worth, family, and your body. But interestingly, even as you are made up of these 6 things, your platform is not the most important thing. What you do with the platform is the most important part. What you will do with this platform will be determined by your purpose. So let's say that you and me have the same similar platform, but the impact that I will make with this input will be probably much less than what Gopi will do, or what impact Gopi will make will be different from what Sri Husur will make. So who determines that impact? It is the purpose that determines that impact. So what we do with the platform is determined by the purpose, and the purpose is a mathematical formula called I to the power of T, the impact you make over a period of time. Some people will make massive impact over a certain period of time. Comparatively with the same set of platforms, some people will do significantly less. So keep in your mind this XY graph, and then I'm now going to change this slide to a 2x2 matrix. So look at this 2x2 matrix. Imagine that I'm superimposing this on the XY graph. So if you do this, then you will find that based on your platform and your purpose, you can have 4 coordinates. There'll be some people who in life will be low platform and low purpose. Remember, not lowly platform or lowly purpose. I'm not being judgmental. I'm saying low platform, low purpose. So Gopi came from a tiny village called Guru. Okay, and he would have come to science school maybe in standard 6, but he would have been very close to another kid in class 4 in his village school where his father was a teacher, and maybe that kid is still in Guru, whereas Captain Gopinath has become a global legend. Okay. So that kid in Guru is actually in a low platform, and probably that kid is the a grocer, a local, LIC agent, or is managing a family medicine store. Okay, so is working with a low platform, continues to be there, and all of you in this call will have thousands and thousands of very close friends who were with you in 3rd standard, 4th standard till you came to Bijapur, and there you have left them behind. Sometimes you meet them, sometimes you remember them, but they're not who you are today. So these are people who are in a smaller universe, and low purpose, again, not lowly purpose. The meaning of low purpose is they're making an impact over time, but a lesser impact over a period of time. Now you compare these people with another set of people who will be low platform, but will have very high purpose. So imagine that you have a few of your friends, maybe from your Bijapur days, maybe NDA, IMA days, maybe you're after short service commission or something there. gone back into some other service, or maybe they didn't join the defense services. Some of them might have gone and worked for, Sri Dalwai was talking about sub-Saharan Africa. Somebody is working in sub-Saharan Africa. Somebody is actually running an NGO in Raichur, helping sex workers to deal with HIV/AIDS. Okay, so these are people who are not working with WHO, okay, which is probably high platform, but working with a tiny local NGO. Or this friend of yours who after Sainik School Bijapur chose to be a school teacher and is teaching mathematics in a government school. Government school is low platform, but that person has very high purpose. And then there are people who are very high platform, but low purpose. Okay. So some guy, studied with you at Bijapur, but became very successful in his own rights, and is working in a very large corporate organization. Okay. And this person has done very well in an IT company, okay, or in an FMCG company or a foreign bank, very high platform, but has a low purpose. What is a low purpose? The impact he's making on people is comparatively low, because it is all about his personal ambition, his personal success, his personal glory, his personal greatness, his own family's well-being. And there will be very few people among us who are riding a high platform with a high purpose. Okay. So if you look at people like Sri Dalwai, he is influencing the farm policy of the government of India. He will be instrumental in resolving the crisis between the farmers and the government, the agitation that is going on. So it's a very high platform and very high purpose. Even after retirement, he's been serving the nation. So Captain Gopinath, another example of high platform, high purpose. Sri Gopal Hosur is high platform and high purpose. So if you look at these four, it's a very interesting matrix, and all of us can figure out. We don't need an external certification. So tonight when you go to bed, you close your eye and you will precisely be able to tell yourself as to which of these four quadrants that you belong to. Now, there's nothing right or wrong about, we're not saying one is better than the other. And I'll explain to you in a moment how, if you belong to any of one of these, you may actually have some vulnerabilities. Some things which nothing comes with a pot of gold, and nothing comes with lack of glory or greatness. Each one can have some serious vulnerabilities that we do not see. What are those? So if you look at the people who you have left behind in Gorur or in Shimoga or Patnagarh, where I was born, but that stayed behind the vulnerability's existence. I'm sorry, not the vulnerability, the driver. I'll come to vulnerability in a few moments. So I apologize. Stay with this slide. It's a very important slide. So for the four categories of people that I talked about, there's some very key drivers, okay, that drive them, strong motivations. The people at the bottom left, who are low platform, low purpose, their driver is existence. Okay, so the person who stayed back in Gorur or Patnagarh or whatever it is, that person's primary requirement is existence. Right now is not worried about the kind of things that you are paying attention to. He'll be thinking, is my LIC bill been paid or not? He's worried about whether the kids have gone for tuition today or not. Worried about, so this before the December thing happens, December the harvest season begins, we need to repair the roof. So it is all about, day-to-day living. The people who have stepped back and they are today teaching mathematics in a government school or helping the sex workers in Raichur, or people who are doing startups. Startup people like what Sri Katti has been on, the driver is path creation. Now, path creation is very interesting. These are people who create a new path. There are people who are path dependent in life, and there are people who are path creators. Okay, so their basic desire, their drive, the inner, the drumbeat to which they listen is path creation. They want to try out new things, do new things. So that's the drive. People who are high platform and low purpose, their key driver is consumption. Okay. I have one car, I need two cars. I have one apartment, now I need a gated community. Okay. Sometimes I have one spouse, I need two spouses. Okay. My children are going to a public school, but my neighbor's child is going to an IB school, so I now need to ship my kids to an IB school. It is all about what am I consuming. The fourth category, which is high platform and high purpose, to which many of you belong, the driver is legacy. Why is a man like Sri Dalwai and Sri Gopal Hosur spending so much time on a website and on a network? It is because you think that this is a way to create legacy. You want to leave behind something which is in better shape than what you inherited. So these are people driven by legacy. Okay. Like Sri Katti was alluding that his colleagues at work were saying, what are you busy with? And he's a man who should be worried about how to build a unicorn and take his company public or raise the next capital funding. And all he's thinking about today is, bringing all the Ajits together. So that's being driven by a sense of legacy. Now I'll pause and bring you to the conversation I was having about vulnerability. This is great. You have great drivers. But in each of those quadrants, you have vulnerability. So what are those? So the people who are low platform and low purpose, the vulnerability can be false comparison. Okay. So there's a kid who used to sit on the same Tatpatti next to Gopi in the village school, and was actually better in mathematics than Gopi, could speak better than Gopi. And today he says, oh, that Gopi fellow, he was much less smart than me. And he went someplace, all because, the fellow later on was given a better support by his parents, or, he got, I didn't make it, but he made it to Bijapur. And then after that, he went to places. Or people who studied with Gopi in Sainik school and thought Gopi is not smart enough, but then Gopi formed Air Deccan, and they'll say, I could have also done it. But no, you couldn't have done it. Or if you could have done it, why didn't you do it? So these people can sometimes suffer from false comparison. Okay. So the classic thing is, I was a captain, he was a captain, and he married the colonel's daughter, and that guy's whole life changed. He shortchanged everybody and became a brigadier. And look, that fellow is retired as a major general. I was thrown out of being a colonel. Okay, I hit my upper limit because he married the CEO's daughter. Now that's false comparison. Nothing stopped you from going and doing the CEO's daughter. So just as these people can fall into false comparison, people who are low platform but high purpose, they sometimes have a vulnerability of fear of scale. Scale worries them. Okay. So the person who is running a small NGO in Raichur will be not comfortable with the Red Cross, will not be comfortable with the WHO. Okay. And these people who tend to think that, okay, for most of world's problem, the big companies and the government and the big NGOs are actually the root cause of all evil, because they think that anything which is large and anything that is behemoth, like an organization, they don't belong in there. It's fundamentally because they are scared about scale. On the top left-hand corner, this is the great corporate guy who was a house already, but is also now wanting a gated community. The vulnerability can be irrelevance. They think that this is most important part of their system. But you know what? People come, people go. Okay. The head of a multinational in India changes every 2 years. Who cares? The bureaucracy is a great example. Chief secretaries come and go, IGs come and go, generals come and go. So you are not the most important part in the system. The system is more important than you. The people who are in the top right quadrant, people who are high platform and high purpose, their vulnerability can be that nobody's giving them negative feedback. They're classically people who can go, they're emperor without clothes. You know, the CEO is drunk at midnight at the bar, then nobody's going to tell you, sir, you are drunk. You should go home now. So if you are the general or you are the air chief, very few people will give you negative feedback or bring you bad news. Great leaders actually suffer from this. You know, the reason great leaders fail is because they're in the high platform, high purpose. So they think that, you know, nothing can touch them, and they do not realize how closeted they can become. And one day the fall will come. Now, friends, what is very important is not which of the four quadrants you are in. Like I was telling you, you are in one of the four quadrants, okay? The important thing is to do a periodic reality check. Okay. Which is the quadrant I'm right now in? And second thing is we should not have a false notion of where we are. You know, I remember that one of the things that, you know, I come predominantly from an OG family. And when in my family, kids were very small, the guardians decided, you know, so this guy will go to civil service, that guy is looking strong, so this guy's Air Force, this guy's you know, Navy, this guy's Army. Sometimes the regiments were decided, okay? And all of us actually had three addresses drilled into our head. One was, first and foremost, you have to completely rattle the address of Union Public Service Commission, Dholpur House, New Delhi, 110001. And then if the parents decided that you are the OG, then you had to remember two postal addresses, okay? 56 APO or 99 APO. And you need to understand the difference between 56 APO and 99 APO. Okay? So why I'm telling you all this is that we need to understand that we shouldn't have false notion. And if you are the OG type, you went and reported on day one, the ragging actually removed the false notions. You know, one of the things we are taught as a kid that everybody joins the Army, Navy, or Air Force, and on day one you are reporting to the academy and you want to be a general. Now that's a false notion, and the ragging will set you know, the false notions out. But it's amazing how false notion doesn't stop there. So false notion can be, I'm actually high platform, low purpose, but I think, you know, I'm high platform, high purpose. Now that's false notion. That's dangerous. The third thing, friends, is it doesn't matter which of the four you are in, but you should be there not by accident, but by choice. The person who is low platform and low purpose actually may be doing a better job than a guy on high platform, high purpose who can lead all of us into danger. Okay, so that person who is, which is running a small pharmacy in Gorur, may actually be doing a good job of serving the local community. It doesn't have to be in Sri Ashok Dalwai's position. And that person actually is attending more marriages and more funerals and more birthdays than any one of us are doing. We are very happy doing webinars, but we are irrelevant to our friends and family. And incidentally, that guy will actually have less chance of a heart attack than any one of us on this call. Okay, she's a good guy. He's doing a good job, but he should not have false comparison. Okay? And wherever I am, I should be there as a matter of choice. If I'm in Raichur, it should be a matter of choice, should not be imposed on me. Last but not the least is to understand that people do not belong to any quadrant permanently. In our lives, typically we move from one to the other, but not every day. You can't move from one to the other every day. Okay, that's maddening. That's madness. But at least 2-3 times in life, I have seen people move. So, for example, Sri Katti, will be able to understand this very nicely. As a garage startup, you are low platform but high purpose. Every startup starts in a very low platform but high purpose. But some will move from low platform, high purpose to high platform, high purpose. Apple is a good example. Microsoft is a good example. Infosys started in a small house, rented house in Koramangala, but Infosys went to high platform, high purpose. So it's a good example. To move. Institutions move, individuals move. Similarly, some people who have great glory and greatness, they're high platform, high purpose. There's this guy who actually had stellar army background, but he became a major general. Something went wrong with the guy, and he got involved in a rum scandal. And that had happened 20 years back. There was a major general who you don't become a major general easily. And all the guy did was he bungled, he was an ASC major general, bungled with some rum supply, and that is the end of his career and end of his reputation. So from high platform, high purpose, overnight, you become low platform, low purpose. Bill Clinton was president of the United States of America. Highest platform, highest purpose. And then this whole episode happened with Monica Lewinsky, and that completely brought him into low platform and low purpose. So people do move. And sometimes, you are forced, not by bad reputation, but let's say your medical category happens, gets downgraded. You are one of the most promising people in your batch, in your regiment, and you are at war and you get shot in your leg and your category is down. And from high platform, high purpose, you are going to be the general in your batch. And suddenly, you have to retire as a lieutenant colonel or brigadier, right? So life moves you back, but some people will then spring back from low platform. They'll again go back to high platform and high purpose, but some people just stay there. Now let's talk briefly about people who are in high platform and high purpose. What is the characteristic of some of these people? I can keep you all night here, but I will be brief. These people typically are people who I told you earlier, their driver is legacy. The driver is not consumption. The driver is not existence. Okay. The driver is not always path creation, but their fundamental driver is they want to leave something behind. So this comes from a deep sense of purpose. Once I had spent some time, I had the privilege of spending some time with the Dalai Lama, and I had asked him, I said, you haven't freed Tibet. You should be a very sad man. But every morning you look at the camera and you smile and you give hope and faith to humanity. Where do you get this power to smile? So he said, your purpose determines your power. It's your purpose that determines your power. So Lawrence of Arabia had a purpose. Eisenhower had a purpose. Sam Manekshaw has a purpose. Sam Manekshaw is probably not very different from any one of us. Okay. So if you look at these kinds of illustrious people, illustrious generals and war heroes, they had a purpose, and the purpose determined their power. The second thing that you will find is these are people who are driven by a sense of vision, power of vision. Gopi's airline has gone away, but he was the first guy who said every Indian can fly. And until Gopi's airline started, lower middle class Indians, poor Indians, they would shiver at the idea of an aeroplane. They could never think in their entire life that they will only see an airplane from the ground. They'll never be able to go inside an airplane. And Gopi said, you give me 1 rupee, I'll make you fly. So it is not about an aeroplane. It was not about an airline company. He was giving a vision that any Indian can fly. Third thing is, these are people who are stirred by feelings, not by data. Okay, data is important, but feelings is far more important. Because feelings are very interesting. They come from emotion. And the word emotion has an E and motion. Okay? It comes with Latin roots. And emotions are nothing but feelings that move. Motion, move, emotion. Okay. And you people will understand it better because you say Ajit hai, Abhit hai. Now that's an emotion, that's an emotional statement. It is not backed by any data. So emotions are very, very powerful thing. Mahatma Gandhi, was stirred by feelings when he was thrown out from the train on a dark night in a desolate South African platform. He fell on the ground, his luggage fell someplace else, and suddenly the man says that this is not fair. Apartheid is unfair. And if he had feeling, so Subhash Bose was driven by feelings. Sardar Patel was driven by feelings. The people were stirred by feelings. And feelings for who? Feelings for people who are far disconnected from you. Sri Gopal Hosur does not even know the thousands of constables and police who will give their life even today for him. He doesn't know them. They're not friends and family. So greater is your distance from the beneficiary, higher is your impact. Mohammad Yunus is a globally respected person who has changed the whole idea of finance in the world with the idea of microfinance. And who are beneficiaries? There's a vegetable seller near Koramangala who's sitting on the ground, and that vegetable seller's whole empowerment has changed because somebody thought about microfinance, and that person is not related to the founder of Grameen Bank, to Mohammad Yunus. Infosys may be anything, but Infosys was most respected because it helped ordinary people to get stock options. Now, those ordinary people who got stock options when stock option was not even heard of in the Indian industry and became millionaires, they're not related to either Sri Narayan Murthy or Sri Nanda Nilekani. So beneficiary is far remote. Last but not the least is there are people who have a long view of time. They know that it takes time to make a difference. It doesn't in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you don't make a difference. You look at your own institution. It's a 58-year-old institution, for heaven's sake. So 58 years it has taken for Bijapur to put its signature DNA in all of you. So it takes a lifetime to make a difference. With that, I would wish all of you the very best. May all of you make a huge impact. May all of you leave a legacy. May all of you remain inspired. I was very nervous actually at the beginning of this. First of all, foolishly, like a new second lieutenant, I jumped into it without understanding what is it that I'm doing. Or Colonel Kumar would remember that donkeys can be made to jump off a child packet aircraft because the first jump, the guy doesn't even know what he's doing. So when Sri Hosu told me and Sri Dalwai told me to do this, I first behaved like that donkey out of a child packet aircraft. And then I was nervous because I didn't know whether this parachute is going to open or not. And I said, so who am I talking to? And Sri Katti brought the bad news that there'll be 10 years old and 70 years old in this conversation. So I said, how do I make myself meaningful to a 10-year-old and a retired general? So he said, no, don't worry about it. Ignore the outliers. And you just talk to people who are in the 30s and 40s. So then I was a little less nervous and felt the parachute actually, the lifeline snap and the parachute open up. And thank you for giving me safe landing. And thank you for listening to me this evening. Once again, all the very best. Good luck, Ajit, Abhita.